Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian in Orlando, Florida, where we are covering the Air Force Association's annual Air Warfare Symposium. This year's topics are command and control and fusion warfare. DRS Technologies is sponsoring our coverage here, and we have with us Rick Lemaster, who is the Global Director for Marketing and Sales for Boeing Vertical airlift programs at Boeing Military Aircraft. Full disclosure, Boeing is one of our sponsors as well. Rick, thanks very much for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Obviously, one of the big reveals of the show was this tiny helicopter that you had under wraps until a press conference this morning when you guys unveiled it. Obviously, a partnership you guys have with AgustaWestland on it. It's the MH-149. Obviously a derivative of a very successful commercial product that Agusta has on the market. They've been using it in the oil industry. Obviously the U.S. Air Force, we were talking a little bit about it's amazing how, even when you've covered it, it's such a long saga for the Air Force to finally get to this point. Obviously, they have a UH-1N fleet. Huey's venerable aircraft has been supporting the nuclear mission. Folks in ICBMs, et cetera. It's about 85 aircraft that are looking to modernize. That competition is back on. First, bring us up to speed on where the competition is and what some of the milestones are that that have brought us to this incredible moment in history where people can actually compete on something that's an actual program.
Yeah, well, as I said, we're really glad to be here. We're able to bring the aircraft, be able to demonstrate it's a real product. We take this very seriously. We think the Air Force has a critical need that they need to address here with support to the nuclear enterprise. So we're very happy to have this aircraft as one of the potential offerings in the competition. The way the Air Force has laid out the competition for us, there'll be a draft RFP coming out in April, final RFP this summer, and then a competition and an award sometime in FY18. Should be sometime next calendar year.
And everybody has their fingers crossed on it. Obviously, a lot of companies are already expressed interest to be in this competition. Obviously, Sikorsky, looked like it was going to go Sikorsky's way there for a little bit. Sikorsky is interested in that program. We were talking that there was some upgrade and a whole bunch of things the Air Force looked at before Congress sort of said, hey, let's open this up for competition. Obviously, you guys are in the mix. Bell is going to be in the mix as well. Obviously, they've got an offering or two that they could put against that as well. And then, obviously, Airbus has expressed interest in this as well. From your standpoint, I understand you might be somewhat biased, but what is the argument that you guys will be making? Why is this aircraft the right aircraft for the United States Air Force to replace the UH-1N?
So I think it comes down to three things. Number one, I think we're capable. We'll be able to meet all the requirements for the different mission sets that the Air Force has laid out for the UH-1N replacement. Number two, we're affordable. We're going to be able to offer a lower acquisition price and a lower life cycle cost for the operator that over the life cycle will translate into over $1 billion of savings based on what we can tell. And then number three, we're ready now. So we've got a hot production line up in Northeast Philadelphia. Leonardo has been building helicopters there for the last 10 years. Roughly a third of the fleet of the AW-139s, somewhere around a third of 900 aircraft that are out deployed around the world have been built out of Philadelphia. So those three pieces, we can do it, we can make it affordable, and we're able to meet the critical timeline that the Air Force has laid out. That's why we think it's a good fit. And if you look at the aircraft, you can see this is a modern helicopter. It's been designed within the last 15 years and been in production the last 10. Its civil foundation means that when it was designed for maintainability, for low operating cost, and for low maintenance overall. So we think those are attributes that the Air Force is going to value. And for people that are looking to go do a very critical mission with a very high demand on effectiveness, but also a demand on efficiency, we think we're the right solution.
What are some of the features you guys are most proud of on the helicopter? I mean, one of the things that's interesting is how all the engine compartment completely comes open. But what are some other things that you guys are really think differentiate yourself from what the competitors you have, but the competitors you also foresee?
I think the basic characteristics of this airplane, the parts of this that are EASA or FAA certified, provide that foundation for the offer. So as I said, it's a modern cockpit. It's been designed for IFR, Instrument Flight Rules, certification for one pilot. So that means that one pilot can fly this aircraft all the time. And that allows the other pilot to focus on mission management and executing the missions, looking for threats, doing the things that the Air Force is going to have to do as they do these different kinds of missions. So the modern cockpit piece of it, the speed. The aircraft can cruise at 165 knots. That allows them to get quicker to the terminal area where they're trying to accomplish the mission. Whichever mission it is, speed always matters. We've also got a lot of flexibility in the cockpit. We can reconfigure the seats based on the different missions that they're looking to go execute, and a lot of cargo space. One of the features of this design series is you're open from the cockpit all the way back to the tail. So you've got one open contiguous cabin space that allows a lot of flexibility to our operators.
And it's a really, really neat compartment that you guys have that does extend quite a bit down the tail. One of the requirements is for 9 fully armed troops to be in the aircraft, which is obviously a stressing function for anybody. What are the option sets you guys have in this? Because all of a sudden when you put 9 fully armed people in it, fully loaded combat troops, you tend to run out of space pretty quickly.
Yeah, the aircraft itself can seat up to 15 people. So we've looked through the configurations to match what the Air Force is saying they're going to want. We are waiting for the final or the next iteration of the draft RFP to confirm what those technical requirements are. So I'm not going to get into a discussion about what they are here, but I think that we have our path forward on how to meet them based on how we see the Air Force executing the missions. And the flexibility you get with this cabin, being able to move these crash-worthy stroking seats around in different orientations allows the operator to most effectively use the aircraft to get the people on board, security forces, with all the equipment that they need in order to go out and execute their mission.
Rick, thanks very much and best of luck.
Thank you very much.